Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the EDS Liberty and watched death approach Earth. Through the massive viewing window, he could see them arriving, ship after ship after ship. The Zephyrian Empire fleet stretched across space like a dark cloud that blocked out the stars. "How many now?" Jake asked his sensor officer. 50,000 ships, sir, maybe more. They keep coming." Jake nodded slowly. He had commanded Earth's defense fleet for 12 years. 200 ships. That was all humanity had to defend their homeworld. 200 against 50,000. The math was simple and terrible. His communication officer turned toward him. "Sir, we're getting a transmission from the big one." Jake looked at the massive ship in the center of the enemy fleet. It was the size of Earth's moon. Weapons covered every inch of its surface. This was the flagship of Emperor Valthak himself. "Put it on screen," Jake said. The viewing window changed to show a tall alien figure. The Emperor had gray skin and 4 arms. His eyes were black and cold. When he spoke, his voice filled the bridge like thunder. "I am Emperor Valthak of the Zephyrian Empire. I have conquered 40,000 worlds. Your species will kneel before me as all others have done." Jake felt his crew tense around him. Some were young. This was their first time seeing the enemy that had ruled the galaxy for 3,000 years. The Emperor continued. "You have 72 hours to surrender. Dismantle your military. Hand over your leaders. Accept imperial rule. Do this and your people will live as our servants. Refuse and your world burns." The transmission ended. The bridge was quiet for a long moment. "Sir?" his first officer asked. "What are your orders?" Jake looked around at his crew. They were scared. He was scared too. But fear was not the only thing he felt. Deep in his chest, something else burned. Something that had always been part of being human. "Get me Captain Harper," he said. Lisa Harper appeared on the communication screen a few minutes later. She was Earth's chief diplomatic officer. Her job was to talk to other species and make deals. Today her job was different. "Lisa," Jake said, "the Emperor wants an answer." "I know," she replied. "I watched the transmission. The whole planet did." "What does Earth Command say?" Lisa was quiet for a moment. Then she smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the kind of smile humans made when they were about to do something dangerous. "They say it's my choice, Admiral. As Earth's representative, I get to answer the Emperor." Jake understood. This moment would change everything. Either Earth would kneel like every other world, or something else would happen. Something that had never happened before in the galaxy's history. "What's your answer?" he asked. Lisa straightened her shoulders. "Send a transmission to the Emperor, all channels. Make sure everyone in the galaxy can hear it." Jake nodded to his communication officer. Red lights appeared on panels across the bridge. The transmission was live. Every ship in both fleets could hear. Every planet in the Empire could listen. The galaxy was watching. Lisa looked directly into the camera. Her voice was calm and clear. "Emperor Valthak. This is Captain Lisa Harper, speaking for the people of Earth. We have heard your ultimatum. We have considered our options." She paused. "We respectfully decline." The bridge was silent. In the space around Earth, 50,000 alien ships waited. In the Empire's capital, 3,000 light-years away, creatures that had never heard. Those words before tried to understand them. Jake's sensor officer spoke in a whisper. "Sir, they're not moving. I think we confused them." Minutes passed, then the Emperor's face appeared on screen again. This time he looked different. Uncertain. "You decline?" he asked. Lisa answered. "That's correct. Earth will not kneel. Earth will not surrender. Earth will not become part of your empire." "This is impossible," the Emperor said. "No species refuses, no world fights back. You cannot win." "Maybe not," Lisa replied. "But we're going to try." The Emperor's face twisted with anger. "You choose death over service? This makes no sense." "It makes perfect sense to us," Lisa said. "We would rather die free than live as slaves. Jake watched his crew as Lisa spoke. Their fear was still there, but something else was growing alongside it. Pride, determination. The same thing he felt burning in his own chest. The Emperor cut the transmission. Across the enemy fleet, ships began to move into attack positions. They had done this dance 40,000 times before. Show overwhelming force. Demand surrender. Accept submission. But this time was different. Jake activated the fleet communication system. 200 human ships waited for his orders. "This is Admiral Morrison," he said. "You all heard Earth's answer. We're not kneeling. We're not running. We're going to show the galaxy that humans don't give up." He looked out at the enemy fleet. So many ships, so many weapons. But humans had faced impossible odds before. They had fought when they shouldn't have. They had won when they couldn't have. Sometimes they had lost, but they had never stopped trying. "All ships, battle stations," Jake ordered. "If they want Earth, they're going to have to take it, and we're going to make them pay for every inch." The Liberty's engines came to life. Around Earth, 200 human ships prepared for war. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and facing an enemy that had never lost a battle. It was going to be a fight worth remembering. Emperor Valthak stared at the communication screen for a full minute after it went dark. In 3,000 years of conquest, no species had ever said no. The word felt strange in his mind. "My lord?" his war commander asked. "Your orders?" The Emperor's 4 hands clenched into fists. "They embarrassed us in front of the entire galaxy. Every world in the Empire heard that transmission. We cannot let this stand." He turned to face the tactical display. Earth's small fleet waited near their homeworld like insects before a storm. Mars hung in space nearby, covered with human defense, stations and weapon platforms. "Destroy Mars," Valthak ordered. "Show them what happens to worlds that refuse the Empire. Make it quick and complete." 3,000 Zephyrian warships broke away from the main fleet. They moved toward Mars in perfect formation, just as they had done on 40,000 other worlds. The humans would watch their military bases burn. Then they would beg for mercy. But on Mars, Commander Rick Stone was not planning to beg. Rick had studied every battle the Empire had ever fought. Their tactics never changed. Massive formations, overwhelming firepower, direct assault. They won through fear and superior numbers, not through skill. "All units," Rick said into his communicator. "Remember the plan. We're not trying to win. We're trying to make them hurt." The Zephyrian fleet approached Mars in a wall of ships 200 miles wide. Their weapons charged up, ready to turn the planet's defenses into dust. This would take 10 minutes. It always took 10 minutes. Rick smiled grimly. Now. The first surprise came from space itself. Hidden among the asteroids between Mars and Jupiter, 50 human ships dropped their stealth fields and opened fire. Not at the big ships, but at the small support vessels in the rear. The Empire had never fought an enemy that attacked from behind. The second surprise came from Mars itself. Instead of standing and fighting like every other species did, the human defense stations shut down and went dark. The Zephyrian targeting systems lost their locks. Where did they go? The Zephyrian fleet commander demanded. His answer came as a stream of missiles erupted from the planet's surface. Not the big, slow missiles that most species used, but thousands of small, fast ones that came from everywhere at once. The third surprise was the most shocking. Dr. Amy Watson sat in a small, human ship at the edge of the battle. She was Earth's best scientist, and she had spent 5 years preparing for this day. "Nuclear pulse drive active," she reported to her small crew. "Ram trajectory locked on the flagship." Her ship was tiny compared to the Zephyrian dreadnought she was racing toward. But it was moving at 1/10 the speed of light, powered by controlled nuclear explosions. The physics were simple. A small object moving fast enough could destroy anything. "Doctor," her pilot said, "we have 30 seconds before impact." Amy nodded. She opened a communication channel to all human forces. "This is Dr. Watson. Remember, we're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting to show the galaxy that empires can bleed." Her ship hit the Zephyrian flagship at relativistic speed. The explosion was visible from Earth. When the light faded, the massive warship was gone. So were the 12 ships flying beside it. The Zephyrian formation wavered. This had never happened before. Their flagship was supposed to be invincible. Rick pressed his advantage. All Mars units hit them while they're confused. Human tactics made no sense to the Empire. Ships that should have fought in formation instead broke apart and attacked from all directions. Captains who should have retreated instead flew straight at enemy dreadnoughts and exploded. The worst part for the Zephyrians was the humans who got captured. Every other species begged for mercy when taken prisoner. Humans did something different. They kept fighting even after their ships were destroyed. They fought in the corridors. They fought in the prison cells. Some even found ways to sabotage their captors' ships from the inside. "These creatures are insane," a Zephyrian captain reported to his fleet commander. "They won't surrender even when it's hopeless." The battle raged for 6 hours. When it ended, Mars was badly damaged, but still fighting. The human fleet had lost 30 ships. The Zephyrian fleet had lost 3,000. Emperor Valthak stared at the battle reports in disbelief. "This is impossible. How can primitives destroy our ships?" His war commander was equally confused. "My lord, they fight like they have nothing to lose. Our soldiers are trained for conquest, not for war against enemies who refuse to surrender." "Then, we use more ships," Valthak snarled. "Send 20,000 vessels. Turn their entire solar system into dust." But as the orders went out across the fleet, something else was happening. News of the battle was spreading across the galaxy faster than the Emperor's commands. On distant worlds, enslaved species heard impossible words. Earth had fought back. Earth had hurt the Empire. For the first time in 3,000 years, the Zephyrian military had retreated from a battle. In the slave quarters of mining worlds, in the labor camps of factory planets, in the hidden places where conquered people still whispered their old languages, the same message spread. If Earth could fight, maybe others could too. Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Liberty and watched the enemy fleet regroup. They had won the first battle, but at a terrible cost. Mars was burning. Thousands of humans were dead. The real war was just beginning. "Admiral," his communication officer called out, "we're getting messages from across the galaxy. Dozens of worlds want to know how we fought back." Jake nodded slowly. The Empire ruled through fear, but fear worked both ways. Now the galaxy would learn what the Empire truly feared: free people who refused to kneel. Ben Murphy had been living on Kepler 442b for 8 years when the news arrived. He was a human trader who had settled on the distant world to sell Earth goods to the local Altharian people. The Altharians were peaceful farmers who grew strange, blue crops under their red sun. But today, Ben was not thinking about trade. He was reading a secret message that had traveled 300 light years to reach him. "Earth fought back," he whispered to himself. Earth actually fought back. Around him, a dozen Altharians crowded into his small shop. Their large eyes were wide with excitement. They had never seen their human friend look so serious. "Ben," said Kira, the eldest Altharian, "is it true? Did your people really hurt the Empire?" Ben nodded slowly. 3,000 ships. Gone. The Empire retreated. The Altharians looked at each other with expressions Ben had never seen before. Hope. After 20 years of slavery under Zephyrian rule, they were feeling hope. "If Earth can fight," Kira said quietly, "maybe we can too." Ben felt something cold in his stomach. "Kira, no, the Empire has a garrison here. 500 soldiers. Weapons we can't match." "But you said Earth was outnumbered too." Ben was quiet for a moment. Then he pulled up the tactical reports he had received from Earth. Battle plans, strategies, methods that had worked against impossible odds. "The humans didn't fight like the Empire expected," he said slowly. "They used tricks, surprises. They made the Empire's strength work against them." 3 days later, the Zephyrian garrison on Kepler 442b woke up to find their communication tower destroyed. Their landing field was covered in holes. Their weapons depot was on fire. Impossible, the garrison commander said. The Altharians are farmers. They don't have weapons. But farmers knew things that soldiers didn't. They knew how to use fertilizer, to make explosives. They knew every cave and tunnel on their world. They knew how to disappear into crops that looked empty but hid hundreds of people. Most importantly, they had Ben Murphy teaching them human tactics. The rebellion on Kepler 442b lasted 6 days. When it ended, the Zephyrian garrison was gone. The Altharians were free for the first time in 20 years. News of the second rebellion spread even faster than the first. On Earth, Captain Sam Rodriguez sat in the communication center deep under the Rocky Mountains. Her job was to coordinate Earth's defense, but today she was doing something different. She was talking to rebels. Confirmed uprising on Vega 7, reported her assistant. Local species overthrew their imperial governor. Proxima Station is requesting human tactical manuals, said another officer. Sam looked at the galactic map on her wall. Red dots marked worlds in rebellion. When she had started this job 3 months ago, there had been one red dot. Earth. Now there were over 200. How many worlds are we in contact with now? She asked. 12,000, Captain. Maybe more. They're using the Empire's own communication network to talk to each other. Sam smiled. The Empire had built their communication system to control their subjects. Now those same subjects were using it to coordinate revolution. Her personal communicator buzzed. A priority message from General Kate Sullivan, Earth's military commander. Sam, Kate's voice said, we need to talk. Something big is happening. They met in Kate's office an hour later. Kate was looking at intelligence reports from across the galaxy. The Empire is pulling back, Kate said. They're recalling fleets from the outer territories to deal with the rebellions. How many worlds are fighting now? Sam asked. 847 confirmed uprisings, probably twice that many we don't know about yet. Sam sat down heavily. This is working. It's actually working. Kate nodded. But it's also making them desperate. Intelligence says Emperor Valthak is planning something big, a demonstration that will scare the other worlds back into submission. What kind of demonstration? The kind that involves turning Earth into a dead rock. Sam felt her stomach drop. How long do we have? Weeks, maybe less. They're gathering the largest fleet in galactic history. Sam stood up and walked to the window. Outside, she could see normal people living normal lives. Children playing in parks, adults going to work. None of them knew that their world had become the center of a galactic revolution. Kate, she said, we need to tell them, all of them. Every world that's thinking about rebelling. If the Empire destroys Earth, the revolution dies with us. Kate was quiet for a moment. Or it makes us martyrs. Sometimes dead heroes inspire more people than living ones. That's a hell of a thing to say. It's a hell of a situation we're in. Sam turned back to her friend. So what do? We do what humans do best, Kate said. We refuse to give up. We make them pay for every inch. And we make sure the galaxy remembers what we died for. That night, Sam sent a message to every rebel world in the galaxy. It was simple and direct. The Empire is coming for Earth. They want to make an example of us. They think that if they destroy humanity, the rest of you will give up and go back to being slaves, prove them wrong, fight, win, be free. Make our sacrifice mean something. The response was immediate. Messages poured in from thousands of worlds. Species that had never worked together before began coordinating attacks. The Empire's communication network, built to spread fear, now carried promises of revenge. On distant worlds, creatures that had lived as slaves for generations picked up weapons for the first time. They thought about Earth, the small blue world that had said no to an empire. They thought about humans who would rather die than kneel, and they decided that freedom was worth fighting for. The revolution was no longer about one world defying an empire. It was about every world choosing to be free. Earth had lit a fire that was spreading across the galaxy. The Empire was about to learn that some fires could not be put out. Emperor Valthak stood before his war council in the throne room of his flagship. The massive chamber was built to show his power. Golden walls, crystal floors, a ceiling that showed the stars he ruled. But today, the room felt smaller than usual. "Report," he commanded. Fleet Admiral Zerion stepped forward. His gray skin looked pale, and his 4 hands shook slightly. "My lord, we have rebellions on 847 worlds. Our fleets are stretched across the galaxy trying to maintain control. How many ships have we lost?" 60,000, my lord. Maybe more. The rebels are using tactics we've never seen before. They don't fight like civilized species. Valthak's eyes burned with rage. Civilized species surrender when they're beaten. These humans have taught the galaxy to be barbarians. Another council member spoke up. "My lord, our troops are having problems. They were trained to fight armies, not entire populations. On every world, everyone fights. Old ones, young ones, even their children throw rocks at our soldiers." "Then kill them all," Valthak snarled. "We're trying, my lord, but when we destroy one group, 10 more appear. It's like fighting smoke." Valthak turned to stare at the tactical display. Red dots covered half the galaxy. Each dot was a world in rebellion. Each world was a piece of his empire slipping away. "This started with Earth," he said quietly. "If we destroy Earth, the others will remember their place." "My lord," Admiral Zerion said carefully, "our intelligence suggests that destroying Earth might make things worse. The humans have become symbols of resistance. Dead martyrs can be more dangerous than living enemies." Valthak struck the Admiral with one of his 4 arms. The alien fell to the crystal floor, blood streaming from his face. "I don't want excuses," the Emperor roared. "I want solutions. Gather every ship in the Empire. We'll destroy the human homeworld and show the galaxy what happens to rebels." Meanwhile, on Earth, Colonel Tim Brooks stood in the command center of Luna Base. Earth's moon had been turned into a fortress over the past few months. Every crater held weapons. Every tunnel was full of soldiers. "How many ships are coming?" Tim asked his intelligence officer. 200,000, sir, maybe more. It's the largest fleet ever assembled." Tim whistled softly. "They're bringing everything they have." "Yes, sir. The Emperor wants to make sure Earth burns completely." Tim looked at the tactical display showing Earth's defenses. They had built more ships since the war started. 5,000 human vessels now protected their home system. It was their largest fleet ever. It still wasn't enough. "Colonel," his communication officer called out, "we're getting a transmission from the asteroid belt. It's Grace Phillips." Tim smiled for the first time in days. Grace was Earth's best engineer. She had been working on secret projects in the asteroid belt for months. Grace's face appeared on the main screen. She was floating in zero gravity inside what looked like a construction facility. "Tim," she said, "I have good news and bad news." "Give me the good news first." "The shipyards are finished. All 12 of them. Hidden in asteroids between Mars and Jupiter. Each one can build 100 ships per month." Tim felt hope stir in his chest. "How many ships do we have ready now?" "That's the bad news. Only 2,000. We ran out of time." Tim's hope died. "So we have 7,000 ships total against 200,000. "Yes, but Tim, these aren't normal ships. Everyone is designed for one purpose only." "Which is?" Grace smiled grimly. "To take as many of them with us as possible." 3 days later, Emperor Valthak's massive fleet arrived at Earth's solar system. 200,000 ships stretched across space like a metal storm. The Emperor, himself commanded from his new flagship, built to replace the one the humans had destroyed. "Deploy the fleet," he ordered. "Surround their entire system. I want every human ship destroyed before we glass their planet." But as the Zephyrian fleet moved into position, something unexpected happened. The human ships didn't try to run. They didn't try to hide. Instead, they attacked. "Impossible," the Emperor said. "They're outnumbered 30 to 1. Why are they attacking?" His answer came from the human ships themselves. Each one carried a message that broadcasted across all communication channels. "This is Earth Defense Force. We know we can't win. We know we're going to die. But we're taking you with us. For every human ship you destroy, we'll destroy 10 of yours. For every human life you take, we'll make you pay in blood. The battle that followed was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Human ships fought with a desperation that shocked the Zephyrian forces. Captains rammed their vessels into enemy dreadnoughts. Crews fought hand to hand even after their ships were boarded. Some ships exploded rather than surrender. The worst moment for the Empire came when a damaged human destroyer crashed into a Zephyrian supply ship. The explosion set off a chain reaction that destroyed an entire battle group. These humans are insane, a Zephyrian captain reported. They're willing to die just to hurt us. Then let them die, Emperor Valthak replied. But privately, he was beginning to understand something that frightened him. The humans weren't just fighting for their lives. They were fighting for an idea, and ideas were harder to kill than people. As the battle raged around Earth, reports came in from across the galaxy. On 1,000 worlds, rebels heard about the desperate fight for humanity's homeworld. The news didn't make them surrender. It made them fight harder. The Zephyrian Empire was learning a terrible truth. You could conquer people who were afraid. You could rule people who had given up hope. But you couldn't defeat people who believed their cause was worth dying for. And Earth had taught the entire galaxy to believe. The battle for Earth had been raging for 6 days. From the planet's surface, people could see explosions in space that looked like new stars being born. The night sky burned with the fires of war. Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Liberty. His ship was damaged but still fighting. Around him, his crew worked at stations with sparks flying from broken equipment. "Status report," Jake called out. "We've lost 4,000 ships, sir," his tactical officer replied. "The enemy has lost 30,000, but they still have 170,000 left." Jake nodded grimly. The math was simple. Earth was losing, but they were making the Empire pay dearly for their victory. "Admiral," his communication officer said, "Dr. Watson is requesting permission to broadcast on all channels." Jake remembered Amy Watson from the early days of the war. She was the scientist who had first shown that humans could hurt the Empire. "Put her through." Amy's face appeared on the main screen. She was on a small ship near Earth's moon. Behind her, Jake could see the planet burning in space. "People of the galaxy," Amy began. "This is Dr. Amy Watson of Earth. We are dying here. Our ships are destroyed. Our cities are burning. But we want you to see something before we're gone." The camera turned to show the space battle around Earth. Human ships, tiny compared to the enemy vessels, were ramming into Zephyrian dreadnoughts. Explosions lit up the darkness. "Look at us," Amy continued. "We're just one small world. We have no great weapons, no ancient technology, no powerful allies. All we have is the refusal to kneel. And look what we've done to an empire. On 1,000 worlds, billions of creatures watched Amy's broadcast. In slave quarters and labor camps, in hidden rebel bases and occupied cities, people saw humans dying but never surrendering. They told us this empire was eternal," Amy said. "They told us resistance was hopeless. They lied. Empires fall when enough people stop believing in them. We've proven that today." Captain Lisa Harper was fighting her own battle on the other side of the solar system. Her ship was surrounded by enemy vessels, but she kept broadcasting to the galaxy. "This is Earth to all free peoples," she said into her communicator. "We may not survive this day, but our idea will. Freedom is not given by emperors. It's taken by people who refuse to live as slaves." Her ship exploded seconds after she finished speaking. Emperor Valthak watched the broadcast from his flagship. Around him, his officers looked nervous. They had expected to crush Earth quickly and quietly. Instead, the entire galaxy was watching. "Humans die like heroes." "Turn off those transmissions," Valthak ordered. "We can't, my lord. They're broadcasting on every frequency. Our own ships are receiving the signals." "Then destroy the broadcasting stations." "We've tried, my lord. The humans have hidden transmitters everywhere. Even their smallest ships can broadcast." Valthak felt something he had never experienced before. Fear. Not fear of death, but fear that his empire was crumbling around him. "My lord," one of his officers said quietly, "we're getting reports from across the galaxy. The rebellions are growing. Entire sectors are declaring independence. How many worlds now? 10,000, my lord, maybe more. Valthak struck his command console with all four fists. This is impossible. We're winning this battle. Earth is dying. Yes, my lord. But the humans are dying in a way that makes others want to fight. On Earth's surface, people watched their sky burn and felt something strange. They were about to die, but they were not afraid. They had done something no one thought possible. They had fought back against the Eternal Empire. In the space battle above, Jake Morrison made his final decision. The Liberty was the last major, human ship still fighting. Her engines were failing, her weapons were almost gone. All remaining ships, he broadcasted. This is Admiral Morrison. It's been an honor serving with you. For Earth. For freedom. For everyone watching. The Liberty and the last 100 human ships charged directly at Emperor Valthak's flagship. They had no chance of survival, but they were going to make their deaths count. The explosion when they hit was visible from 100 light-years away. Emperor Valthak survived the blast, but his flagship was crippled. Half his fleet was damaged or destroyed. Earth was a burning ruin, but the humans had cost him everything. My lord, his communication officer said with panic in his voice, we're receiving reports from across the Empire. Mass rebellions on 15,000 worlds. Our governors are being overthrown. Entire fleets are switching sides. Valthak realized the horrible truth. He had won the battle for Earth, but he had lost his empire. The galaxy had watched humans choose death over slavery, and that choice had broken the fear that held his empire together. On the former slave world of Kepler 442b, Ben Murphy stood with his Altharian friends as they watched the news from Earth. Tears ran down his face, but his voice was strong. They did it, he said. They showed everyone that the Empire could be beaten. Across the galaxy, the same scene was repeated. On mining worlds and factory planets, in prison camps and forced labor colonies, enslaved people rose up. They remembered Earth's final message: freedom is worth dying for. Within 2 years, the Zephyrian Empire collapsed completely, not because of superior weapons or tactics, but because people stopped being afraid. Emperor Valthak died on a burning ship, still unable to understand how one small world had destroyed his eternal empire. Earth was gone, but Earth's idea lived on. The galaxy learned that no empire lasts forever when people refuse to kneel. And, somewhere in space, floating among the debris of the final battle, Amy Watson's last transmission still echoed across the stars. We would rather burn as free humans than live as imperial slaves. The empire had burned, and the galaxy was free.